Time to start. Welcome to my broadcast on this Friday. This is typically Adult Beverage Friday, but I haven't had an adult beverage in, hour ago, at least. So, welcome, my friends, and we have an interesting topic tonight. Let's see if everyone's here. We got already 130 people in here. Uh, So our topic tonight is something that's been on my video comments since yesterday. It's like filled up with comments and so many questions on. Please review the Freedom Phone. Please review the Freedom Phone. Well, obviously I don't have a Freedom Phone. No one gave me one, so I can't tell you exactly, what it looks like. But I'm smart enough to look at it and know exactly what's on there. Actually, it's pretty obvious, and you will find out in a moment that my analysis of it is likely quite correct. But again, I don't have one, so we'll leave it, leave them the benefit of the doubt about things that I don't know about, and we'll discuss only some theories about what it is, and they might come back and say, no, you're wrong. Well, we'll see. We'll see when you look at it. So anyway, what exactly is all the excitement? The excitement is that apparently the MAGA group started to promote a phone called the Freedom Phone. And from what I heard, it came from, what's his name? Eric. I got to check Google here. The founder of the company is Eric Finman. Okay, so he's a crypto guy. I don't follow him. I don't know anything about him. But the one that apparently made it quite visible was Candace Owens. So Candace Owens is pretty popular among the MAGA group, and she apparently partnered with this company to promote the phone. So she's been out on media promoting the phone, and that's why it got so much attention. So you have to give it to them. They did some good marketing here, and they utilized their abilities at social media to actually get some attention and get this going. They're apparently very successful, because I can't generate that kind of attention. There's no way I can talk here and get hundreds of people leaving comments on my broadcast saying, what the heck is a Freedom Phone? And then have it be covered by the news. Nobody talks about what I do, right? I mean, I don't see myself in the press being talked about. But they are able to do that because they're very popular. Well, so we'll see. We'll see what this is all about. So this is a picture of the Freedom Phone. I have to kind of step away here. I'm going to step over on the side. So that's the Freedom Phone. Hey, Mickey Leaks. So Duckduckgo isn't much better without Tor. I don't know. Some of you are criticizing Duckduckgo, but how do you compare Duckduckgo to Google? I don't get that. Because it's advertising based. That's the main concern. Well, it's not based on personalized identity, so I don't think you have to worry about DuckDuckGo. So, let's see. Hello there, James Mason. Overpriced and heard was junk. I actually don't think it's junk, although it is overpriced. So there you can see it. But I'm going to give you a few surprises tonight. A few surprises, because you know me, I'm not going to give you the regular talk. I look at things and I always have my own take on things. And I'm kind of holding back to bring more people in here before I give you my take on this Freedom Phone. So first of all, what is a Freedom Phone? So my analysis of Freedom Phone is: does anyone have a Google phone? Well, I'll pull a Google phone from my pocket here. I'll pull one from my pocket, and so there's my Google phone. Okay, I don't know if you noticed, but kind of looks the same, doesn't it? See if it's focused here. It's the same round icons. Everything is pretty much the same. I mean, the background obviously is different. The search on top is a little different, but it's pretty much the same, right? I mean, really the same. Look at the bottom. Look at the bottom buttons. Pretty much the same. Now, it should be obvious it's the same. Because why is it the same? You can't see the phone? Of course you can see the phone. Okay, why can't you see, why can't the, why is it the same? Why does it look the same? Look at some of the icons on the bottom there. Why do they look the same? Well, obviously it's the same. This is obvious to me. I mean, you know, I don't think you can dispute this. It's AOSP. It's Android Open Source Project. That's what that is. AOSP. So, yeah, it could be just a regular Project Treble, plain vanilla Project Treble. Could be. You could do that. Or they may have compiled it to put some. It looks the same, so it doesn't even look like it's worked any different. So it looks the same. So it could just be Project Treble, which is standard. You can load it on any phone. It doesn't even require any kind of work. And it can also be based on Lineage OS. They could have taken Lineage OS, which is mostly what they're based on, and then they make slight modifications to the names so the word lineage doesn't go up. That come out. It's very easy to do. You download the source code of Lineage OS, and then you make changes so the word lineage is not there. And that there's so many phone OS versions that do that. They just take the main one, like Havoc and so on. There's so many, and then they just change the pages to make sure that they just organized a little bit, and you know, then it will not look like the original. Although it's going to be the same thing. So what's interesting here, if you actually look at the phone and how it operates, I mean, it's exactly Android AOSP. So is it a Android AOSP open source? Is this open source? Or is it something they modified? If it's from AOSP Project Treble, meaning the plain vanilla AOSP that comes from the the Android.com site, or is it Android.org site? If it comes from there, the plain vanilla Treble, which you can, then it will be open source. If it's modified by them, then no, it's no longer open source because they modify it. We don't know what they're modifying on it. Okay, so there's no doubt, if you're going to ask me what's in that phone, it is pretty clear that the phone is Android. The phone is Android AOSP. Okay? I mean, I could arrange my icons in the same exact way. I'll tell you the differences here, but it is Android AOSP exactly. There's no doubt. You can't change this doubt. Now I'm going to give you a little fun surprise, because I actually have the Freedom Phone. Hey, do you want to see a real Freedom Phone? Anyone want to see a real Freedom Phone? They say it uses Freedom OS. I could say this is Brax OS. This is what I call mine, Brax OS. You can call your OS anything you want. I call mine Brax OS. But mine is based on Lineage OS. That doesn't mean anything. Okay? It doesn't mean anything. I can call it anything I want. So mine is called Brax OS. Okay? So I don't call it Freedom OS. I mean, that's, you know, nice and fancy because sounds good for marketing. I'm not going to poo-poo this. This is fine. If you want to have a Freedom Phone, I'm not going to tell you not to get one. However, I probably have better phones that do the same exact thing. So, yeah, I have these models. I have many models which do the exact same thing as your Freedom Phone here. I have Pixels, Pixel 3, Pixel 4, Pixel 4a. Yeah, different kinds of models. And they all, and I have a Freedom Phone. So I'm going to show you the real Freedom Phone, because I happen to have one right here. Let me just turn it on. So, yeah. Okay, there's a Freedom Phone. Okay, I want you to compare the two. Well, obviously the graphics are different, but I mean the apps are different because I didn't preset the apps. But look at it. I'm going to kind of keep it distant here. Tell me if there's any difference. Can you see? Can you compare? I mean, I'm talking about the appearance of the phone itself, physically, the buttons, all of that, the shape of the screen. Tell me if there's any difference between that phone and this phone. Just look at it. Look at it, guys. Look at the top camera tab there. Look at how the spacing is on the bottom. Look at the spacing on the sides. Wouldn't you say this is the exact same phone? Wouldn't you say this is the exact same phone? So I told you I have a Freedom Phone. Except mine has Lineage OS on it. Okay? So, Freedom Phone. Buttons are flipped. No, that's probably just the image. No, it's not flipped. It's the same. It's just that, you know, when I do this, the camera will reverse this. But it's exactly the same. Yeah. It may appear, well, yeah, it may appear reversed because the camera will revert, like it reverses my face. So, okay. So there, I have a Freedom Phone. That mine has Lineage OS on it. And I'll give you a little surprise what this phone is. So this phone that they're selling for $499 appears to be a Moto G7, a phone that I sell a lot of. I sell a lot of these. I've sold a lot of these before the Freedom Phone. And I mean a lot. I can't get a large stock of these now. I should go to the same company that manufactures their, or really it's their clone, so that pre-makes their clone G7, and then they just took out the Motorola on the bottom, because this one, if you look at the bottom, I don't know if you can see it, it says Motorola in the bottom here. So I don't know if it's visible. Okay, so they just took the Motorola out on the bottom. So yeah, I can go to a supplier. Somebody actually sells these clones, and just take out the bottom, and then I'll come and sell it and tell you, I got a Brax phone. Brax phone. Same exact thing. Except I sell these, you know, de-Googled phones. I sell this exact model, de-Googled, for $329, and they sell it for $499. I guess they got to make extra money because they got to pay Candace Owens and all the press, and whoever has to make a commission out of these. Plus they give a 10% discount. So figure, So I'm I sell these myself for $329. So just to compare, okay. So what is the other difference? What's the other difference? The other difference is that the apps are supposedly, certain apps are preloaded. The main app that they have preloaded apparently is Parler. So Parler is banned from the App Store. So you can't get Parler from the App Store. So they preloaded on this. Said Freedom Phone. You know, you can put any phone, any apps that are not on the App Store. What, you can do that anyway. You can do that. I'll tell you how you do that. You download. Even the old versions of Parler will be on apkpure.com. If you have one of these de-Google phones, just go to the website here, go to the browser, which it defaults to Duckduckgo, same as the Freedom Phone, and you go to apkpure.com, and you can download the exact same app that they have, and you'll be identical. You'll be doing the same thing, the same benefit. Okay, so yeah. So, if you already have my phones, you do not need a Freedom Phone. You already have a Freedom Phone. And many of you, of course, already have my phones. I've sold a lot of these phones. It's been the one sustaining this channel. So there's a lot of phones coming from me. So I'm kind of ahead of the game. So if you're looking for a Freedom phone, you don't need to go wait till August to get one. I have many in my store, but mine are different simply because I have every model. I have Pixels and Moto G7, Moto G7 Plus. So there's you can get the phone with the quality you want, because a G7 is a 2019 configuration. So some of the other ones have better cameras. The G7 does not have the best camera, but the Pixels do. And the other difference is that the Pixels are waterproof. The Moto G7, which is obviously the clone of that, this is not waterproof. So I bet you, well, it's the same model as you can see. So their phone is clearly a Moto G7. I looked at it and I said, that looks like a Moto G7. And then when I set it side by side, it looks exactly like a Moto G7. I mean, many phones have differences and you can spot them, pretty quickly. They have different screen, different design. But the dimensions to be so exact means it's a clone. It has to be a clone. It's got to be just a reproduction. They went to the company and said, give us some more of that phone, that one. So it might have the same problems as the what do you call this? The Moto G7 XT1962-1. That's the exact model. Moto G7 XT1962.1 USA version. That is the version that I see in there. Okay, there's a couple of versions of this. There's an India model and there's a international model, and then the US model, which they claim will work with Verizon, is XT1962-1, which stopped working with Verizon. It doesn't work with Verizon anymore since the beginning of the year. So I don't know. They may have a problem. They might be selling it for Verizon. It's not going to work with Verizon. I don't advertise these as working with Verizon anymore, because Verizon doesn't like them because they don't have voice over LTE. So anyway, so the apps themselves, you can load any apps. If that's the main draw, you can load any app on the Google phone versus the Freedom phone. So to me, they're identical. So is it a bad thing to get a Freedom phone? Well, obviously not. It's de-Googled, as long as we know if it's open source or not. That I don't know. If it's open source, which they have not said it's open source, then it would be the same as what I sell here, and so that's fine. If you want to do that, they don't have Google. I'm sure they are no gaps phones. AOSP no gaps. That's what in my videos I said. Use AOSP with no gaps. You can use my phones. You can use Graphene OS, Calyx OS. You can use Freedom phones. It doesn't matter to me. The more people use the Google phones, the better for us, all of us. So it's just, a little bit of hype for something that is already existing. It's just repackaged. It's the same thing. So it's made to look like it's something new. You're coming at me with, I want to get that. That sounds exciting. And it's like, I've been selling this since my first video on the Google phone early last year. I've been selling you these since early last year. So, or probably even right before that, probably a few months even before the beginning of last year. So sometime in late 2019, I was already selling these phones. So no big mystery to them. And in fact, I have two here. This one is a standard Android. This is a Google phone. Let me turn the... Yeah, this one is a standard Google version of that. So this is a Google. Let me just turn it on. But this one is a Googled Android. So this one we haven't configured yet. Okay, so this the same thing, hasn't yet been programmed. So we still have to go through this and flash it. So this is an unflashed phone, brand new. Okay, just arrived. So yeah, there's your Freedom phone. So much hype, huh? So much hype. So, do you have to wait for a Freedom Phone? No, it's the same thing as mine, except that, like I said, I have more models since I have Pixels and so on. So I have many more models, and mine is open source for sure. Okay, so my phones are open source. They're based on Lineage OS, and they're pre-configured by me in the way that I deem safe. I use one myself, so I've had a Freedom Phone for a long time. I've been free. Of course, truly, a de-Google phone is free. And nothing else you should... We still see the Freedom Phone and nothing else you show us. Is your screen kind of small? I mean, are you being blocked by... let me just test that theory here, because you're saying... Let me bring up the YouTube screen again. Hold on a second. Because when I bring up the Freedom Phone, do I block the entire screen? I don't think so. Hold on. Let me just verify that. Takes like 10 seconds or 15 seconds. Yeah. I don't know what you're saying I'm blocking. What am I blocking? Wrong side? Oh, I got to do it on this side. Okay. I guess I got to watch the position. Okay, so anyway, I hope that answers the question definitely about what this is all about. It's just a de-Google phone, which something I've been promoting from me here. And yeah, the Google phone is good. I don't know what their source code is, so the fact that they're not open source is kind of a issue. So if they tell you they're open source, then it'll be acceptable. However, you're really just paying extra, since my phones are better because they're configured for a more general market, and there's really no difference. They're just loading apps that they think you cannot find in the store, but you can do that anyway. So there's really nothing different about it. So if you want a Freedom Phone, you already have one, go to my store. You can have one. I don't want to promote it, because you'll think I'm just here to promote my phones, but it doesn't really matter to me where you buy them from, because the more people use phones that are not from Google, the better for all of us. So yeah, so not gonna say don't get it. So yeah, it's good marketing, and they're gonna make big money out of it. So they're gonna sell multiple times the volume that I can ever make, because I don't have that kind of money. So yeah, I mean, that's amazing how you can use marketing to promote something that's basically exactly the same. There's another phone that has been mentioned, and I haven't mentioned it anywhere, but I know some of the players that are part of it, and that is Clearphone. And I haven't talked about Clearphone. I don't know if I like the way Clearphone is set up. So Clearphone is basically a phone with a preset VPN. So the VPN goes to the Clearphone network first. Then they block stuff from their VPN. So they actually block certain sites or whatever they want to block. They block it at the Clearphone site. And I believe the phone is Googled. I don't think it's de-Googled. So if it's not de-Googled, then all the tracking is still there. So I don't see any evidence that it's anything that we want. People try to come up with all these variations, and really these, at the moment, the basic ones that I would really go for are only two, and that's Android AOSP, no gaps, no Google apps, which is what I call a de-Google phone, or a Linux phone. Those two are, to me, the safe options. Some of these other ones, I don't know what they are. I'm not sure I would trust them. What about the Librem 5? Yes, so Librem 5 is a Linux phone. Now, the problem with the Librem 5 is the company. So I myself have a Librem 5 on order since what? 2019? I've lost track. When did I buy it? Yeah, mid 2019 or before. So it's been a while, and obviously I don't have it yet. So 2.5 years later, or however long it's been, I paid $700 for a Librem 5, which I don't have. And even if it comes out, it'll be so old of a phone, I'm not sure I want to do anything to it other than test it. As a phone, it's already old. So, just not good idea from that point of view. But the Pine phone, which is the other one that is a Linux phone, is, to me, is... just needs some improvement, but because the cost is so low, it doesn't really matter. You don't, a Pine phone is not that expensive, so even if it doesn't match the performance of, let's say, a Google Pixel, it doesn't matter so much because you didn't pay so much money for it. So it matters when you pay $700 for a phone that's, that's the price of a Pixel, and the quality is not like a Pixel. It's kind of, it's not. The CPU is very slow. Because, this is technology from 2.5 years ago. And it was already slow back then. It would be slower than these Moto G7s, aka Freedom phones. So, and then they still have so many issues with the OS itself because the Linux developers have not really completed some of the parts of the project yet. Like, there's still bugs on the phone side. There's still bugs on power management. Power management is still not there. And then the camera still has limitations. I believe they got the back camera to work in some limited way, but in this very, very basic way. I don't think you have a FaceTime camera yet. So just the back camera. I don't believe they have the front camera working. And this is really the problem with anyone developing a new phone. It's complex because you have to spend the resources to actually do the work and research on every single device. And, the volunteers at places like Ubuntu Touch and so on, they don't, they're volunteers. They can only put so much time a week. And so they don't have the resources. So in a year and a half, they really haven't gotten very far from the last time. So it's a little sad, but, what do we do? It's just the lack of resources. So in the meantime, I have good things to say about Linux phones when they're widely available and the software is ready, because there are things you can do with them that you can't do on an Android phone, and there are ways to get privacy on a Linux phone that you can't on an Android phone. However, the Google phones are pretty powerful and very good. They're really good phones. I'll tell you the main weakness with them. The main weakness is that there's an OEM area on the phone. OEM area is the closed source stuff that the manufacturer puts on here. So in this case, I believe, I don't know who makes this one, this Pixel 4. Could be LG, could be, I forget who makes the specific model, okay? Because it's different for every model. So whatever Google uses as a manufacturer. In any case, what was I talking about? HTC. I think that these ones are probably HTC. And they're made to very high standards because Google is the one paying for these. So so these are HTC. I believe like the Nexus 5, those were all LG. Yeah. LG for the area. Okay, OEM area. I'm talking about the OEM area. So the OEM area is an area that you don't override when you install Android open source. You actually put it over whatever's on there, but you leave the OEM area untouched. That comes from the manufacturer of the phone. So it is possible for whoever manufactures the phone to put some malware or put some tracker in the OEM area. Now, it's kind of dangerous because they can get spotted doing that. But it's possible. So if some state level player said you're gonna stick something in the OEM area and no one's gonna know it, yes, that's possible. They can also put it at the chip level. So yeah, it's not 100%. The difference with a Linux phone, it's a Linux phone doesn't have that issue because it's all open source, including the driver. So there's no OEM area on a Linux phone. If you completely wipe it out, there is nothing there, but everything is from Linux. So privacy is more guaranteed on a Linux phone than it is on an Android phone. So I understand that part. However, a Linux phone is less secure. Now, I want you to understand the words here. There's a privacy issue and there's a cybersecurity issue. From a cybersecurity issue, an Android phone is better for cybersecurity than a Linux phone. That should be obvious. There's things I just take the SD card out and I got the phone. I don't even need the phone. I just pull the SD card out. Okay, and it's Linux, so you can even overlay it with something else. So there's no device security in a Linux phone because they don't have the time yet to do that. So there's no device security. There are things like SE Linux and App Armor and so on that has been used only at the very, very basic level on a Linux phone versus the very advanced level that SE Linux is used on Android. So as far as hackers are concerned, Android is a lot more secure. It's very secure. It's actually pretty hard to hack an Android. Very hard, unless it's rooted. It's very, very hard to hack an Android. So for that reason, you need to understand the differences. Linux phone is better for privacy because you're absolutely sure there's no software in there that you didn't put in unless somebody hacks you. But from a fresh phone given to you and you control it physically, then the phone is going to be much more private. There's not going to be any connection to Google or anybody else, for sure. So here, even though this is a de-Googled phone, the risk is that there's a OEM area. So that's the part that you may not know about. Okay, now before I continue here, let me just talk to you about Linode. So my channel, if you may not have noticed, doesn't have any sponsors. I don't really take sponsors. So I get sponsor offers many times a day. Okay, many times a day. Every VPN company has approached me for sure. NordVPN, PIA, so on. They all have come to me and say they want to be a sponsor. Everyone, everyone making from chairs to whatever. It doesn't even matter if it's related to my channel. I do not take sponsors, except for one. I only have one sponsor, and they're sponsoring my live streams. They're only on my live streams. They don't sponsor my main videos. They're only on my live streams. And they've been my sponsor for over a year now. And the reason is I myself use Linode. If you have the need for cloud servers, I've used Linode for the last, I've certainly, been on this channel. I use a lot of servers on Linode. And in my experience, if you're going to compare, and I deal with a lot of cloud providers, in my experience, Linode has been the easiest to deal with, the lowest price, and the best tech support. So if you ever want to set up a server, like a website, you want to set up a Nextcloud, Jitsi server, XMPP server, WordPress, stuff like that, go to Linode. It's, don't go to GoDaddy or one of those. Go to Linode. You can set up a server with no hidden costs for as little as $5 a month, and the bandwidth is included. So it's pretty amazing. So anyway, this is the only sponsor I'm taking at the moment. So just so you know that. Nobody else. So that makes them kind of special. I do not have any other sponsor. And I appreciate, guys, if you support my channel, support my product, support what I do here, so that I don't have to take sponsors. So if I can survive without sponsors, I really will give you a free message. I will not be tainted by trying to appease a company that I don't believe in. So I tell you things about companies that are sometimes very negative, and so they won't sponsor me. So, and I will try. I'll actually want to tell you one of those stories in a moment. Motorola is a Chinese company. Yeah, and the problem is that all phones are made by Chinese companies, so we're kind of zucked. I'd rather that we don't have phones made by Chinese companies, but you know, when Apple and Google started to give all their business to China, then of course that kind of, it's Apple and Google made China the powerful maker of phones that it is. Like Foxconn and all that, that was started by Apple and Google. So Apple and Google made this. Samsung too. So between Samsung, Apple, and Google, they actually made China. And I can't imagine how big a chunk of the economy is based on these phones. Probably a big chunk. Because, you know, Apple's over $1 trillion company. The White Ninja, thank you very much. How do we let Linode know you sent us? Oh, the link. Sorry. Right there. Linode.com/Rob Braxman. They give you $100 credit for 2 months. Sorry about that. I forgot. So they give you a $100 credit which you can use within 2 months. So you can actually try out their servers for free for a couple of months. Okay, so I don't take, as I said a moment ago, I don't take sponsors. Linode is the only one. And you know, I tried taking a sponsor or two, but you know, it's not been good for me. There's channels that deal with a lot of sponsors, and it taints the way they present the information. I'll give you one example. It's a channel I watched, you know, for, gosh, over a decade, I think. And the channel is Security Now with Leo Laporte and Steve Gibson. I've talked about them before. And Steve Gibson is a very smart guy, and you know, he likely knows the same stuff I do. So we're talking about somebody who's, you know, very technically capable at understanding cybersecurity. It's basically the same as, probably the same level as I understand it. The problem is that their channel is based on advertising, so they can't talk badly about big tech because that's how they make money. Their channel is a lot smaller, and they get a lot of money from advertising. So they do a weekly show, and everything is about advertising. So it's a long podcast, and they do everything from advertising. And I don't do that. So they're afraid, obviously, if I were in their business, if I were in their shoes, they would be afraid to talk badly about certain things. Like certainly they won't talk badly about Google, Apple, and so on. Even though they'll say, oh, you know, such and such have access to your data, they're not going to state it in a way that says they're spying on me. They're not going to state that, and it's like, suck. You're not being honest. So I don't want to be in that position. I don't want to be in that position of not having to be honest with you. I'll tell you exactly what the story is. I'll give you an example right now. I'll give you an example. Example is, what is the most evil tech company ever? What is the most evil tech company ever? Which I will not be afraid to tell you. Now there's so many evil companies, but which one is the most evil company? I'll tell you the kind of, I'm talking true evil here. This is a company that really did evil. And I used to talk about them. I used to talk about them a lot in my live streams on Periscope, the app I was on before, and I got threats. I got threats. So yeah, I got threats, and I'm happy to tell you that company is not Google and it's not Facebook, even though I consider them pretty evil too. But not in the same kind of. This one is like obvious evil. Okay, this one is obvious evil, and the company used to be called Symantec. Symantec. Okay, in case you think it's the same company, Symantec's changed. Symantec has changed. So, because of their stupidity, of the evil that they've done, they basically lost so much of their business. The company's been split up, and Broadcom owns a chunk of it now. No, not Palantir, just Symantec. Now let me tell you the kind of evil this company does. So you see, that's why you need to just support me and my channel directly. Don't rely on sponsorships, because the kind of evil that will be out there, I can't fight them if I have to rely on their money. And yeah, so Symantec used to just sell you Norton antivirus, and you were like, oh yeah, don't use an antivirus, by the way. Different topic, but do not use an antivirus. Do not. In fact, just to give you kind of a picture here, there was a Vault 7 leak on WikiLeaks. WikiLeaks published Vault 7. Vault 7 is some secret documents from the Zucking IA, three-letter agency. And Vault 7 revealed some secrets, and I told you some of them that some of you don't believe, but there it is. It's from the horse's mouth. And one of the things that Vault 7 says is they spy on your TV. They can actually turn on the speaker of the TV and turn it into a microphone. That's on a Samsung TV. That was on WikiLeaks. They also tell you how they can spy on your antivirus. They tell their own agents not to use an antivirus because of the danger. And I have a video on that from long ago. Maybe I need to refresh that video. But anyway, going back to Symantec. So Symantec, I never used to call them by name. In many videos, I referred to them as Romantec. And then Symantec bought VeriSign, which I call the very true signing people. VeriSign, if you don't know what VeriSign is the first company to supply HTTPS certificates or trust certificates for the internet for encryption. Asymmetric keys for encryption came originally from VeriSign. VeriSign was the first company. So Symantec, Norton Antivirus bought VeriSign. So if you want an HTTPS website, if you want to have a SSL-based website or TLS-based website, it's called now, you have to go to a company like a VeriSign. VeriSign was the first. So back in the day, you can only go to VeriSign. Now you have many different companies. But originally you went to VeriSign. Okay, so now Symantec became big because they had VeriSign, then they had Symantec. Norton Antivirus. Then what happened, and then they have an enterprise version of Norton. So Enterprise Norton, Enterprise Symantec, and then the VeriSign for the security keys. Okay. Then they joined up, and this is where the evil started. Then they joined up with a company called Blue Coat Systems, which I used to call the blue suit people, because it was just too much danger to talk about them. And I'll tell you why I can talk about them now. Well, I'll tell you because they already split up. So they're no longer as powerful as they ever were. So anyway, Blue Coat Systems was purchased for I don't know how many billion, a lot of billions. I lost count. Blue Coat Systems, the company, actually supplies spyware to many different countries, countries in the Middle East and countries in Latin America, to spy on their citizens. It's actually the software to spy on citizens. It's also corporate software for spying on employees. So Blue Coat Systems, that's the name of the company. Now what happened was Blue Coat Systems merged with Symantec, and then the CEO of Blue Coat Systems became the CEO of Symantec. Then that's where the evil began. That's when it turned to complete evil. So Symantec then decided that they're going to be in the spy business. They're going to spy on all of you. The worst kind of thing that you can imagine. And one of the things they did is to use the assets of the corporation. And what's the assets of the corporation? VeriSign. So what they did was they say, hey, VeriSign is the root certificate authority of the entire internet. It's based on VeriSign. And they basically made a sub-authority with Blue Coat Systems. So Blue Coat System could issue their own certificates by the power vested in them by VeriSign, which is owned by the same company. And then Blue Coat Systems started to make fake sucking certificates. Fake certificates. They made fake Google.com, fake Facebook.com, fake everything. And that allows, just understand what happens here, that allows anyone listening into a network to unencrypt any HTTPS traffic. So if they can watch what you're doing on Facebook, they can watch what you're doing on Google, they can watch what you're doing on any site, which allows any country to spy on you. And that's what Google did. I mean, Symantec did. And then on top of that, they bought this company called LifeLock, which is the biggest scam I have ever seen. Okay, LifeLock is scam. Now, what the zuck is that going to do? Oh, you need LifeLock to protect your digital identity and so on. It's like, what the zuck are you talking about? The moment you're zucked on the internet, you can't undo the zucking. Once you're zucked, you're zucked. What is LifeLock going to do? Oh, we provide insurance. What? For what? To pay for your credit cards? It is completely useless. It's a scam. There is no benefit you can get from a LifeLock. The only way you can protect your digital identity is to prevention. Okay, so LifeLock is a complete scam. It's just a money thing, and they bought that for several billion again. So this company just started growing and building this crazy infrastructure, which is built totally on scamming people and doing crazy, except Google caught them. Google caught them by putting Google certificates in Chrome. It's called the certificate pinning. So Google didn't trust that you would use the same certificate, so they actually put the certificates for Chrome, the identity of it, inside Chrome itself, and Chrome will be able to detect if the certificates have been modified. And they were able to find out that it was in fact modified, and they caught that all the certificates came from Symantec. And then Google said, because of that, we are going to ban Symantec's certificates from all our browsers. And then Apple and Safari and Firefox joined in and said, yeah, well, we'll do the same. So Symantec then could not do the certificate business because this is the sign of evil in a corporation, and that's exactly what happened. And then Symantec then had to sell off its business, HTTPS business, which is a very small business now. Everybody uses free certificates from let'sencrypt.com, and there's no need to pay big bucks to have certificates. So it's kind of a falling business anyway, but they were using it for evil intent. So now they sold that. I forget the company that sold it to. Some of you might remember, but they sold that. So that is no longer there. Then they got rid of VeriSign. So VeriSign was sold too. No, that's VeriSign. So VeriSign was sold to this company. And all of those divisions, there were sub-companies as part of VeriSign. So that's gone. So Symantec became just Blue Coat Systems, the Norton Antivirus, and LifeLock. And then they undid that because they were losing so much money now because of all this bad reputation. So Blue Coat Systems and I believe what's left of it, and then let's see, and the enterprise side of Norton, of Symantec, that deals with running server antivirus and all that. That was purchased by Broadcom. So Broadcom now owns that. I don't know what they're doing with Blue Coat Systems and what kind of evil is perpetrated by that, or whether they're more on the up and up now. I have no idea, but that's now Broadcom. So currently, the current Symantec is nothing more than LifeLock and Norton Antivirus. That's why they sell them together, and they advertise in all the, radio stations and whatever. Piece of crap. Do not use Norton Antivirus. In the Vault 7, release from the three-letter agency, it was funny. They actually told you how they hacked every single antivirus from Kaspersky to McAfee to all of that. Not one mention of Symantec, which to me was pretty crazy. Why would you have all these hacks about all these different antivirus, but you don't have a hack on the biggest one, which was Symantec, Norton Antivirus? So that led me to believe that they didn't document a hack to Symantec, but it was likely they had a back door. Makes sense. Makes sense. This is why this is the kind of evil. This is the kind of evil that can happen in the world. And some of you are you have a rosy picture of tech, and I don't. I can see the evil that goes around here, and they get away with this stuff. So please support me, support my channel by buying my products. Instead of getting a Freedom phone, get one of my Google phones, because you're going to get even more benefit. Get my Google phones, and you're supporting what I do here. You're supporting what I do. I have VPN. I have a VPN as well. So instead of having NordVPN and PI and all those come to my channel, use my VPN, and then you're supporting the channel. You're getting the same benefit, but supporting this channel, and that way I'll be able to maintain a bit of independence and editorial freedom, so nobody can come to me and say I got to speak a certain way about a certain company, because I don't even speak nicely about Google, and I'm on YouTube. I don't even say nice things about YouTube, even though it's supporting my platform. YouTube, of course, can block me anytime, but it's not in their. I check their, terms of service, and there's nothing in the terms of service that says you can't say anything negative about YouTube. So that's not one of the conditions. So they can try to, ban me or deplatform me because I say things that, may not be nice about Google or YouTube. But that's not in their terms of service. So if they would be doing that, that would be faking it. Or they could just change their terms of service and say, well, we want to censor people who talk badly about Google and YouTube. So we might do that. So once you say the truth about the CEO, you will be banned. Is there a cost-effective way to block EMF? Well, yes, but you kind of have to decide what the heck you want to achieve, because of course your phones will stop working. So is that what you want to do? Okay, if you're willing to have your phone stop working and you say, I'm just going to go with a wired phone in my house. Yeah, it's there's called EMF blocking paint or RF blocking paint. It's like carbon based, and yeah, you can just paint it, and then you can paint a color over it. So it's like a black paint, and it's kind of an expensive paint, and you basically paint it everywhere, and then you can paint a color over it. The problem is your doors, your windows. Some RF can still leak through, but at least it will attenuate it quite a bit. So if you feel like you want to do that, then you can have your Wi-Fi handle the traffic from inside your house. But if you don't want any external stuff happening on the outside, then you can use that paint. I saw it on Amazon, so it's available. It's you are a painter. Okay, you should offer that as a service. You say I can do that kind of paint, but you got to think about the windows as well. So whatever device you put in, if they get, if you have a phone, you get close to the window, then you're going to get cell service. So you may have to have some other way of blocking, aluminum foil on your window blinds, or you're going to have to put stainless doors on your windows. It's a little bit extreme. So I'm not at that level of concern. That's not. There are many other ways to be tracked, and that's not number one on my list. Couldn't you make a dead box? Couldn't you make a dead box? What is a dead box? Like a Faraday cage? Yeah, you can, just put foil, a metal container. Make a stainless steel box. Get some sheets and attach them with screws. I mean, something you easily do. You can buy the stainless sheets from a hobby store and then do it, and then you can store your phones on there. Or you can just keep a cheap Faraday bag. But on the other hand, you kind of wonder, if you're going to do that, then how are you, why not just turn the phone off? You don't need lead, because, you might get toxic stuff from the lead. Would a mask made with metal threads full facial recognition? The mask is good for most facial recognition, but what the new threat is infrared. So they can go over the mask, which is how your phones track you. Like your iPhone can do facial recognition with a mask, because it's able to use infrared and go beyond the mask. So you need something that can actually affect infrared. Something like with power, that a plugged-in device. So a mask with little power in there. So maybe a mask with some internal lights, like LED lights on the inside. It doesn't have to be visible, but if you put it on your face, it would obscure. I mean, this is kind of over the top here, but you could do that. I don't think that's the main issue. Okay, so yes, somebody said there IR LEDs. Yes, so you can put it inside the mask with a battery, because LEDs don't use that much power, and then you're gonna wear that, and then that would obscure. But it's a limited threat right now. Most facial recognition is done just facially, which a mask would cover. Tin foil under the face mask. I'm talking about infrared. It may not be stopped by tin foil. So I was planning to retire my phone and upgrade to a new one. The update to license me that I went out and picked up a Samsung. The problem is the Samsung is always Googled. So especially USA Samsungs cannot be de-Googled. So if you want a new phone, we can de-Google new phones. I'll tell you, if you want to get a new phone, we can de-Google it, as long as it comes from the Google store. So go to store, which is funny when I'm saying this, but you go to store.google.com and you can buy a Pixel 4a or Pixel 4a for 5G. Those two models. Okay? Brand new. So you can buy them brand new, then ship it to us, and then we can de-Google it for you for a lot cheaper than if we buy it. If we buy it, we have to pay taxes, shipping, and all that, and so it cost goes up. But if you buy it, we can do it for $130 for the de-Googling and $11 for shipping, so $141. So that's fairly inexpensive, if you want to do it that way. But you have to buy your own Pixel 4a or Pixel 4a 4a with 5G or 5G. Not a Pixel 5. We can't do those yet. So those are, it's kind of interesting because these are new phones. They're brand new phones. So they will be available in the Google store at least until the end of the year. So you should be able to get those phones if you want them. Now we sell Pixel 4A's as well. They're new in open box. So we have those. So, and then we have, you know, Pixel 4s, Pixel 4 XLs and all that. What about LG? We can't do any LG. We can't do anything else other than, at the moment, other than the models that are in my store. And some of them we're not able to get stock. For example, one of the models we're able to do is the Oneplus 6. And I can't get a volume of Oneplus 6s. They're kind of hard to get. If there's if the manufacturer of OnePlus 6 wants to connect with me and I can buy them in bulk, then yes. But at the moment, I cannot get volume of OnePlus 6. So I have just whatever supply is in the market. And I'm one of the biggest buyers of phone as it is. Pine Phone 74. You mean there's a new Pine Phone? I mean, I have the Pine Phone. What is the 74 designation? Is that a bigger Pine Phone? What is the link to your store? It's in the description. It's brax.me. How hard is that? Brax.me. Sign up at the store. Sign in, like set up an account. And then that's it. You go into the store. You go into the app. It's an app. You can download the app from Google Play, and you can also download it from Apple Store. And yeah, or you don't even need to do that. Just go https brax.me, and you can go in. And then when you're in the store, when you're in the app, it's on the menu. The store is on the menu, and then you can communicate with people there. I can't do any LG, not one. The problem is I can't get volume LGs because only a very limited number of models can be de-Googled. Very limited. So the same with Samsung. So you can have this many Samsungs, and the only one you can de-Google are from Europe. Only EU Samsungs can be de-Googled, and even that. And I have one of those, and they require a completely different procedure. And because I can't get stock of them anyway, I decided not to even do it because I can't get stock of Samsungs internationally. For example, there's a company doing de-Google phones called eFoundation. And if you notice, they only do Samsung. The reason is they're in the EU, so they can get Samsung phones in the EU. So they actually customize their ROM to work specifically with Samsung in the EU. So they're set, but we can't get those here. So here we get more pixels. So many of the OSs that you're familiar with, like Graphene OS, Calyx OS, Lineage OS that I use, we all use pixels. They're the most high volume that's available. So I can get those in volume, not big volume, not the new phones, the older ones, like Pixel 3s. I can get Pixel 3s. So they're used, but they're in good condition, and they're in mint condition. So I can get a lot of Pixel 3s. Well, Pixels work on every carrier, every single one. You don't have to even think about it. If you some of you are limited because you want to use Verizon. All the phones work with AT&T and T-Mobile for sure. The only mystery is always Verizon. So which phones work with Verizon? If you have that question, the answer is get a Pixel. Then it works with everything. Live my Pixel 5 with AOSP. Okay, I don't do Pixel 5s. So does EU have more privacy protection than US on phones? No, they're using Google phones. So their Google phones have the same problem. Google spying on them, just like they're spying on us. Okay. Recently smashed my Graphene Pixel 3. Well, get another one. Sony Xperia and Xperia 5. Again, another set of phones I cannot get in volume, and they have very limited models that can be the Google. I cannot get those in volume. Yes, straight talk. And it doesn't matter. Pixels work with everything. Now, the Motorola's that I sell, so these Motorola's only work Freedom phones. These Freedom phones, Motorola G7, only work with GSM. They used to work with Verizon, but Verizon banned them. So they only work with GSM companies, which is T-Mobile and AT&T. So T-Mobile and AT&T will work. You worry about the pandemic babies. Verizon is best for rural areas. Yeah, apparently so, but they make it really, really difficult. It's such a pain to work with Verizon. 90% of my issues with phones is that Verizon doesn't work with them, and then they go to a different agent, and then it works, and then they never tell you why. Why did it not work with one agent versus another? And it's really frustrating, very, very frustrating. I have one downvote. I don't care. Downvote all you want. Maybe somebody didn't like that I didn't promote Freedom phones. You are an honest painter. If you're an honest painter, you're going to offer them the paint I'm talking about to block RF. That give you a new line of business. You can say we paint RF blocking paint. It is a bad idea to get a fit 5G phone. Thoughts on OnePlus phones? Yeah, OnePlus phones. The OnePlus 6 is the one that I can de-Google. OnePlus 7s I have de-Googled some. I cannot get them in volume. They're kind of overpriced, the OnePlus 7s. And some of them are locked, carrier locked. So, because I deal with volume, I can't I can't have delays caused in production with OnePlus. So OnePlus 6s we can de-Google, no problem. And the other ones like the 6T and the 7T, that every time they put a T in there, it means it's carrier locked. And then it's so hard to unlock them. You can unlock them, but it's such a pain. You have to sign a form, and then they say, well, we'll let you know in 2 weeks. Well, we don't have time to wait for 2 weeks to unlock it. Does Bytes VPN work on iPhone for foreign Netflix? Bytes VPN works on an iPhone, but I cannot guarantee you that Netflix will be problem-free on it. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. It depends. I don't have the patience to go play that game with Netflix. They will get extreme, and they will actually start just blocking anything that's not AT&T, Verizon, Spectrum, one of those. So they have a list of 10 ISPs, and they'll say, if you're not one of these 10, then we're not even going to allow Netflix. So it's kind of a pain. And so there's no privacy benefit from doing it. The reason you're doing a VPN for Netflix is because you want to hide from geographical limitations, which is not the purpose of my VPN. So you can use another VPN for that. Find a VPN that says that we support that, and go to that one and use them for that. My VPN is for your privacy, not for that. I don't have any opinion about any other VPN. Again, I told you I don't want to be, here accepting sponsorships. And the one sponsorship I will not accept is definitely not from a VPN company. So, yeah, so especially since I have my own VPN. So, and my VPN, obviously, I'm a smaller player, but although getting more significant now. And yeah, so we're getting some reach now. We have a lot of servers. So, yeah, and we have excellent service, and we have some actual differences in our VPN. We offer Tor. No VPN offers Tor. We have Pi-hole as part of the ad blocking already built into the network, and plus the we don't block anything. PIA, they'll block email. We don't block anything. So, can your VPN work on a Freedom phone? I'm sure, although they said they already give you a VPN. Do you own your own servers? Do you own my own servers? My servers are in the cloud. I pay for them. So they have to be in the cloud. So I need bandwidth. I can't have them in my house. So they're not in my house. They're on site wherever, all over the world. I have servers everywhere, all over the world. I have servers with different ISPs, although, I favor Linode. So wherever Linode is, I have a server there. I mean, sorry, many servers there. If I'm on different areas, then I may use a different company where Linode doesn't service. But if I can, I use Linode. I wonder if, I don't know what that is. Is Windows Defender for Windows Safe? Windows Defender is free, and it has very limited functionality. For what it does, it's fine. I use Windows Defender, and that's the only thing you should use. Windows Defender. It's basically good for blocking kitty malware. The things that are repeatedly forwarded over and over. It's not going to stop any major virus, and none of them will. It's not going to stop any 0-day. So if you're going to think, I'm going to get Kaspersky because they can stop a 0-day. None of them can stop a 0-day. That's why it's called 0-day. Nobody knows how to deal with it. So no antivirus can stop a 0-day. So what are you actually defending against? Normally you're defending against kitty scripts. Scripts that are copied over and over, and they do the same thing. And that's handled nicely by, Windows Defender. Now on Linux or a Mac, do nothing. You don't need them. You don't need them. Do I need to make another video explaining to you what exactly is the issue with the VPN, with antivirus? Will anyone watch that video? I mean, I could make these videos. I just don't know if anybody would watch them. But antivirus is completely, exposure of danger. If you actually use an antivirus, you're actually opening up your computer. AVG, Avast. Oh my gosh, I have many opinions. I have many opinions. They're not good. Okay, do you want me to, is it important for me to make an antivirus video to explain why this is? You would watch it? Would anybody else watch it? I got to be careful now because with such a big channel now, if I make a bad video, then Google, YouTube will smash me to bits. Okay? No more, nothing. What did I just tell you? Do not use any of them. If you need a video for me to explain exactly, I have an old video. There is an old video explaining some of it, but there's new information now, and there's if the three-letter agencies tell themselves, their own people, not to use an antivirus, why would you? They're the experts. They're the experts. Don't you agree that the three-letter agencies are the experts at this? They know how to hack you, and they do not want to use an antivirus. So why would you? Okay? AVG will mess up a computer. Yes, dude. Oh gosh, you just don't know what an antivirus will do. And if I explain it to you, it will be based on the information directly from the three-letter agency. They actually would tell you what's wrong with antivirus and how a hacker could get in it. There's so many tricks to getting into an antivirus. So if that's what you, if you want to actually open up your machine, use an antivirus. I didn't know this info before. Good. Okay, good. I have my video on antivirus is 3-4 years old now. So it's one of the first videos I did, and nobody watched it. I don't know if does it even have 5,000 views. It probably has 2,000 views. And I have videos that are almost 1,000,000 views, and that one has 2,000 views. So nobody was interested, and that was when my channel was small. So yeah, okay. So if it's of interest, then you need to be educated on it, because you know, many of you actually have the impression that you're supposed to use a U.S. antivirus like Symantec, or some of you are saying, well, I'm anti-government, so I'm going to use Kaspersky. And whatever your reasoning is, the problem is they're all bad. All of them. All of them. And somebody actually said, you're so anti-Russian or whatever. And it has nothing to do with that. They're really bad. They're really bad. I will watch as I'm paying PC. I'll watch it as I'm paying PC-matic. Okay, they are so bad. They are so bad that you may have loaded a big spyware machine on your computer when you load some of these. You may have opened up your computer to somebody a keystroke logger, basically a Trojan. That's part of the danger. You load an antivirus and you could have loaded a Trojan in there. So somebody will say, no, they don't do that. Well, you don't know they don't do that. Because if you can see what I can see, then you'll say, what the zuck? They can do that? Yep. So yeah, I can demonstrate it. In fact, I had many live streams where I demonstrated it using Avast. And Avast was bought by AVG. I don't know who owns AVG now, but Avast was bought by AVG, so they're the same now. Okay? PC-matic, yeah. WebRoot. They're all, by the way, all of these companies you're listing, except for Symantec, they were listed in Vault 7, meaning the CIA had, oh no, sorry. What did I say? The Zucking IA. The Zucking IA had a compilation of faults by antivirus. And the only one that didn't mention anything on was Symantec. Interesting. And the reason they don't have to go look for faults in Symantec is because why? I have no idea. Maybe they have a backdoor. I don't know for sure. McAfee Zucks, and I'm not talking about McAfee had nothing to do with antivirus. John McAfee had nothing to do with the antivirus for decades. Okay, decades. So the antivirus was been passed around. The last owner bought it from Intel. So Intel was one of the prior owners of McAfee antivirus. So yeah. So yeah, they're all bad. I only make one exception to the antivirus, and that is Microsoft Windows Defender. And the reason is, if you're in Windows, it's already there. And secondly, it does so little. It's not meant to be the fancy antivirus. The fancier the antivirus, the more dangerous it is. It's just so simple. What an antivirus does on Windows is very simplistic. And for that, what it's being used for, it's fine. For that purpose, it's fine. For that limited purpose. Okay, so good. So if you find this of interest, then I'll give you the scoop with more recent information about the antivirus. So you'd rather use anti-malware bytes. I'm not going to go on anything. Can Microsoft computer run Linux? Yes. Depends on the computer. It depends on the model of computer. Most computers can run some sort of Linux, but run it well is the question. Most computers will run Linux. Most Windows computers, Intel chips, most Intel chips will run Linux. the question is the hardware. Will they run it well? It depends on the hardware. The more complex the hardware, the newer the stuff is with touch screens and all this, the more Linux fails. If it's a basic computer, keyboard, desktop, the more successful you will be. So the problem was with specialized laptops. That's always the problem with Linux. Microsoft makes software, not computers. Correct. Actually, that's not true. They make Microsoft Surface. They make Microsoft Surface computers, Microsoft Surface laptops, Microsoft Surface tablets. So, if you hadn't heard of RF paint and he's in Canada, they're not allowed to paint even their toenails. It's funny. Dumb phone is the way. I actually think the Google phone is the way. So anyway, I'm out of time, but again, Freedom Phone from Rob Braxman. Freedom Phone. Rob Braxman, Freedom Phone. You don't have to go anywhere else. I got these, and they don't look just like the ones they have there. Let's see. Just look at that phone and tell me that's not the same phone. Tell me that's not the same exact phone. So, even the buttons are the same. Goodness. Wow. I mean, we're talking about exact. Look at the buttons on you're seeing a mirror image, so it's on the opposite side. But even the buttons are identical. That's so funny. Okay. So, yeah, Freedom Phone from Rob Braxman. Not from freedomphone.com, but generically a Freedom Phone. Yeah, I have this phone. It's like a LG. Where can I get it? I don't sell Freedom Phones. I sell Google phones, which is even better. So I've been selling these for a long time now on my channel, and these are open source phones that have absolutely no Google on them, and they've been on my store for a long time. I've sold a lot of these. So I have like a factory here that makes these phones. So thanks, but you didn't answer. What is the question? I didn't see your question. Anyway, does what support installation of pfSense? No. Does Bytes VPN support installation on pfSense? Oh, I'm sure yes. Yeah, I'm sure you can install it on pfSense. I'm certain you can. Let's see. I don't know what the question is. No Blackview. I have no idea what Blackview is. There is a black phone. Is that the same one? Which I would never get. Is that the same as the black phone? Those phones are on Alibaba for $179. Yes, that's, without software, that makes sense. So wholesale, they can probably get them for, under 200. Wholesale. Make your own Freedom Phone, folks, from Hong Kong. Blackview, I don't know what Blackview is, and I'm not in Hong Kong, so I can't tell you. But Black Phone, no. Black Phone, was being touted as a secure phone, and then you actually read the details about it. And it's similar to what Clear Phone is doing, and which is they're funneling all your traffic to their server, and basically it's like a VPN. They preload a VPN on the phone, it goes to their server, and then all the traffic then is centralized, and they can see all your traffic at the server of Black Phone. And that's how they supposedly encrypt. So beyond that, then it's unencrypted like any normal phone. So it's like, well, what is the point of that? so you can pay more money. Okay, got it. So do you want a black phone? No. So, no, you are confused. I'm confused about what? Are you talking about, well, you're talking about something else anyway. So, I don't know what Black View is, so it doesn't matter. I'm not commenting on Black View. I have no idea what that is. I wonder if Calyx OS with free VPN is good. Anything free VPN is never good. However, if you have a de-Googled phone, you don't need a VPN on the phone, on the Google phone, because we preload Orbot. Orbot is Tor. So the Google phone already has Tor on it. Okay, so pretty secure. You just turn on Orbot and you're automatically hidden it's official. It's the official project from the Tor project. So Orbot is preloaded on my de-Googled phones. And no, we do not load Parler and any of that. You can load it yourself. You can load it. There's absolutely no limitation. You can load that. Braxme is loaded. Okay, Orbot uses a ton of battery. Use it only when needed and turn it off otherwise. Yeah. I would not necessarily use Orbot all the time. It's going to slow your network. But let's say you want to do something specific. You turn it on briefly and then turn it off after. Can we de-Google a Pixel 4a ourselves? Sure, if you know how. I doubt if you will want to waste the time. So, Pixel 4a, we can de-Google for you if it's from an OEM unlockable source. So you will find that it will cost you a lot of money. You get a Pixel 4a because you buy it from eBay and you think you got a big deal, and then you send it to me and say, I can't do it. Then you have to return it, and then you just lost a lot of money. So price range of the Google phones is from $329 to $800. What is Orbot? Orbot is a Tor. It's Tor routing, so it's more secure than a VPN. So that's on the phone. You don't have to pay for that. It's free. So when you turn it on, it routes all of your traffic to Tor. So if you don't know what Tor is, watch my video on Tor. Okay? So I'm running out of time here. I only have 3 minutes. Do a tutorial on how to safely use your de-Google phones. I only have one lesson to tell you about the Google phone. You don't need a tutorial to use the Google phone because I already made videos that you can't really screw up the Google phone. The only way to screw up a Google phone is to use Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp. That's it. You can't install Google, so you can't cause damage by installing Google because it's not possible to install Google. It will be rejected. So what can you install on a Google phone? Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp. Bad. Very, very bad. So beyond that, is there any other issue? No. You can do anything you want. You can load anything you want. You can, mine has Spotify, Kindle. I do have some apps here. PayPal even. Yeah. I have some navigation apps from boating. I have my own version of navigation apps. And I'm running Waze. So, yeah, I mean, not really. I can't run, YouTube. I have to run NewPipe. That's about the only major difference here. Anything Google you can't have. So, yeah. Can I install Bytes VPN on pfSense? Yes. Yeah, you can do it. Did you get a copy of the ROM for if you crash the phone you need to reinstall? It takes too much expertise to do that. I mean, just send it to us and we'll do it for free for $11. If you have to reflash it or upgrade it and you don't want to do it yourself, just send it to us and we'll do it for $11, just which pays for shipping. So if you buy a phone from me, we provide the service. It's kind of like a lifetime deal. We just provide the service for you. So if you feel like you need to upgrade the OS, then send it over and we'll do it. I summon Orbot in attack mode. You're a caveman. Is Waze owned by? Yes, Waze is owned by Google, so I'd rather not use Waze. But you know, some of you can't live without Waze. So if you can't live without Waze, then there's Waze. Otherwise, don't use it. I don't use Waze. It's on my phone. I don't use it. But if I'm on the road, not at my house, but if I'm on the road and I want to check, you know, a different traffic scenario that, you know, maybe not showing up in my normal computer, my normal navigation computer, or my because all of my cars have navigation computers, so I don't really need to use Waze. But sometimes it gets you better traffic routing. So I can pull up Waze and see if it suggests a different route. That's about the only time I would ever use it. Okay? Obama phone is the best I heard. John McAfee had one sent to him at his. Are you sure about that? There's so much, you know, conspiracy theory stories, so it's hard to believe any of this. Not too familiar with Pixels. They're not dual SIM. They're single SIM. Google Pixels are waterproof. Their cameras are excellent. They're at the same level as an iPhone, the latest iPhone. So cameras are the best on a Pixel. They're much better than any of the other models, like Motorola's. Hands down, much better photos on Google Pixels, like the Pixel 3 and above, especially Pixel 4 and above. Much better cameras and waterproof, which is not true on Motorola's and other models. I'm uninstalling the Duck right now. I don't have a problem with Duckduckgo. So we're out of time. Yes, I'm out of time. So anyway, yeah, you can buy Google Pixel 3 for $200, but it's not going to be de-Googled. You got to pay us to de-Google it, which costs money. So yeah, and there's a risk if you buy it on your own, you will find that it's not OEM unlockable, in which case you got to return it. So only 50% of Google Pixels can be unlocked. So we already take care of that. If you know, at the beginning it was very hard to get stock because we had to return one half of them. So if you're gonna buy it yourself, you're gonna lose out 50% of the time if you buy it from an eBay. So if you want to buy a Google phone that you know can be de-Googled, buy a Pixel 4a or 4a for 5G, 4a with 5G, which is a different model, from Google Store itself. That can be de-Googled. Okay? If you buy it from store.google.com, buy Pixel from there, not the 5G, not the 5, but the 4a ones, those can be de-Googled. And you can get them brand new. Okay? So if you want to do that, then you can just send it for us to do. So anyway, thank you very much. It's a possibility of a hidden processor from GPU of a Raspberry Pi. Is it truly a secure, secureable device? I think a Raspberry Pi is going to be pretty safe because it's kind of built open. It's open architecture. Where do we purchase from me? You just go to my website. It's on the description. Brax.me, Brax.me, and you go to my store and you can buy VPNs and de-Google phones and so on. So I may not have a lot left by this weekend. I mean, so many of you are buying, so we'll see. We'll see how many I have in stock, but I'm stocking constantly. So if the demand goes up, then temporarily I may have run out of stock, and then I'll fill it up within a week. So I can buy a lot of stock within a week's time. Okay, guys. So thank you very much, and I'll see you later or out of time, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.